Hey y'all, I just thought I'd give you some pointers here when you're doing some mudding. What I like to do with the mud is I take the box of mud, pull the bag on out, and then I cut the bottom of the bag. I don't dump it out from the top. And I'll show you, explain as we go here. Now I can squeeze that mud right down in the bucket without it getting all over my hands and stuff. It's less messy, and it just flops right on out. Pretty simple to do, and then you just squeeze the mud just milk it right on into the bucket. That's how I put mud in a bucket. And by the way, it's a lot cheaper to buy the mud in a bucket, in a box, than it is in a bucket. So, if you got a lot of mudding to do, just buy a bucket or two and buy as many boxes as you need. Now, the next thing I want to point out here is that when I get my mud from my trowel, I fill on up. When I'm all done loading up my trowel, before I walk away from that mud, I don't just leave it gummed up however it was left there. I like to knock it down smooth in the bucket, especially when I'm done for the day. Knock it down smooth, scrape the edges of the bucket, get any chunks off of there. Anything that can dry up and contaminate the mud, that really is helpful to do. The cleaner your mud is, if you don't have no dry chunks on in there, it does help. And the more surface of mud that you have exposed, such as rough, piled up, the faster it will dry. It's kind of like a concrete finisher. Now, they don't do this very much, but back in the day, we used to have a wooden bowl float as well as a magnesium bowl float. A wooden bowl float, you'd run that over your concrete slab, and that really roughs it on up. It gives lots of mountainous, hilly, up and down quite a bit. And the concrete would dry a lot quicker for us. And then when it get down to the dry to a certain point, then we'd hit it with the magnesium. That would still leave it semi-rough, but that would slow down that drying time. So that's the purpose. The less air surface that you have, the slower the drying time is. And what all I got going in here is I'm just doing some taping in the hallway. Nothing really exciting to see. I'll probably cut a bunch of this part on out. Right now the video's like an hour and a half long, and there ain't no way that I'm gonna leave it that long. Here in a minute you're gonna see Alvin walk out of the door from the back bedroom, and he suggested that I title this video "Paying It Forward," and so that's what I'm going to do. I made another video earlier, and I'm going to retitle that to Paying It Forward. And I'll probably put a number, number 2 on Paying It Forward on this. I'm doing this for free for him. Me and Dave are both working for free. We don't owe it to him. He just was a elderly gentleman that needed some help, and we have the time to do it, to give him the help. We can only do like 2 or 3 hours a day, because my health doesn't allow me to work an 8-hour period either. So I work 2 or 3 hours, and I take off quite early, like I'm doing now. I sit back and put my back on ice. You don't notice it here, but this type of stuff, stepping up on that stepping stool and that stuff, it starts wearing on me. But anyway, I'm really glad to be doing this for him. He's a great guy, and he's the type of person that would give anybody a shirt off their back. The type of person that's a real Christian. You go to so many churches, and if you're a druggie and you walk into a church, man, they avoid you like the plague. Or just a dirty prostitute, just all just gummed up with mud and stuff. Or a mechanic just caked with grease. You go to a lot of churches and they just don't want nothing to do with you. However, Alvin is the type of person that he accepts everybody, and he doesn't try to convert anybody. He just wants to be your friend and set an example for you. What I'm trying to show here is some of the stuff that we're dealing with on this house. Now, he had some people that helped him on a lot of stuff that didn't know what they were doing. And this corner board is like about 3/8 or a half inch on out, so I'm going to have to build that up really thick with mud. You really can't tell if the corner boards are like 3/4 of an inch low from the ceilings. Just trying to show some of the stuff that we're running into here. I'm just kind of showing what I've already mudded on in. There's big gaps between the ceiling and the wallboard. There you can see it. There's spray foam that we filled that on in. And we found that using paper tape in these corners here, put mud over the styrofoam that he sprayed in those big gaps, then using paper tape on in there is working the best for us. It's working pretty good. But here the ceiling isn't screwed off in this bathroom. This is in this master bathroom. This video is. But just all the way around, just about all the way around. Got to fill in with spray. Now this next bit is a clip. I'm going to leave this on here. It's going to be Alvin talking about some of his interests and stuff. And some of the stuff that he's planning on doing. I thought maybe some of you might find it interesting. By the way, one more thing I want to tell you about. I told you earlier that this guy had some people that didn't know what they were doing, helping him on the house. Well, the reason why he had them there is he's trying to help those people. They were some of the druggies that most Christians don't want nothing to do. And he's trying to show them a way, to get away from the drugs and know that there's hope. So anyway, here pretty quick, you'll hear him start talking here and different stuff. So I thought I'd leave this part on in.
What I'm thinking on the greenhouse thing, if a 20 by 40 greenhouse is big enough to produce all the food a family, I think it's family food or whatever, can eat, they calculate that based on a once a year harvest. if I do mine, then I can have a 3 times a year or 4 times a year harvest for some products. I'm wondering how big of a greenhouse would I need using the principles.
That depends on what you're going to grow.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I would think the biggest problem would be the environment to have the variety of foods that a person would want. You're going to have to grow stuff that's going to be best for this climate, for each season. If you're going to do like 4 seasons out of the year.
Well, not necessarily, because say tomatoes, they're 90 to 120 day harvest period with about 30 days picking time. But you can plant them all 4 seasons in one of these greenhouses because you have all 4 seasons available. Because you have the light and the heat, and it's all solar driven.
Right, but your tomatoes aren't going to produce very well and stuff like that. Say like in climate that you're going to be doing celery or cabbage.
No, but yes.
So the variety, and you can't overlap them.
But you see, if you do the small greenhouses like I'm talking about, the raised bed greenhouses, then you can change the environment in each greenhouse.
So things like that about having more than one.
Yeah, more than one greenhouse, and change the environment in each greenhouse. So that you can create the perfect environment for each product.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that's what where I'm thinking it ought to go. Is have small greenhouses that meet each environment. And then I want to I've kind of come up with a design of a pretty inexpensive shell, if you please, portable shell for fruit trees that I can do the same thing with. Almost around, because as long as you keep it short and small, like 8 feet or less, there's a lot of those mini ones. I should be able to have, I've built one of these things for each tree. So then I can have them, trees that would not normally be, say, in a northern climate. As long as you have sun, you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
I just want to calculate all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Well, I know a friend of mine, he's working on just around the corner from here, actually. So, see here, whatever, it's probably up the road up this way to the place. He's working on one of those, it's put into robotic control.
oh,
I was working out.
yeah, and I probably would do this.
It's going to tell him when to plant the tomato seeds, when to plant stuff, and then so he just stuffs the seeds on into the planter.
Oh, I see.
So it just tells him when to load up what seeds into it, and then he just going on. But he's only got a little tiny, it's little 6x8. It's just a hobby deal. He doesn't. He wants to know how much food he can grow in it.
Yeah.
But he's like counting on it for a living. But he's like, what if I can come up with something like this, He's got one of those. What do they call that?
Yeah.
Where you make your own product. Your 3D printers.
Oh, yeah.
So you can make a lot of, and he's a computer programmer.
Sure. Yeah.
So he's. I don't know why he wants to be a friend of mine. He's too smart for me. I tell him, don't even talk to me about this stuff. You're way over my head.
I'm back here in the master bathroom, and what you see me doing is where the spray foam was put in those big gaps, and he came through and cut them with the razor knife. Cut the spray foam excess on out for the most part. And then he discovered that using the sanding block to clean it up the last little bit, and any of the chunks that was stuck to the sheetrock, the little spackle or whatever, does pretty good cleaning it on up and getting it ready to stick the mud on in there. So that's what I'm doing at this point. There I was tapping in the top of the corner bead. It was kind of flared out, so I was just tapping it in. It was bent on out, so I just tapped it in so it'd be back behind the mud. I'm getting ready to slap in some mud over that spray foam where the big gaps are. And this works pretty good, so I'll probably let this here play on for a little bit. I need to get a better camera so I can do better close-ups and different stuff for you to actually see how it turns out. But it really does turn out pretty good, all in all considering. Now, if you don't want to watch the monotony of just putting some mud on in the corners there and put the tape in and wiping it on down, if you want to jump ahead, I could jump ahead to 24 minutes and 48 seconds. And then we'll see what happens from there. And I don't know if anything's going to happen, or if might tell you to jump further ahead.
One thing you don't want to do when you're putting paper tape in is you don't want to push all the mud out from underneath the paper. That's how you get bubbles behind it. You don't want too much mud in there to bulge out the corners, make the corners sticking out like a half inch or something like that. You want as little mud as possible so you don't build up the corners with a whole bunch of mud. But you want enough mud in there to hold the papers and not get bubbles. And that's something I can't teach you how to do or really show you how to do. It's just something you learn from experience. Not that I'm all that experienced at it. Some people would have you wet the paper before you put it on so it sticks better. I just go by the temperature. If it's hotter on out, then I want to wet the paper out. It was not all that hot, not all that warm, then I just put on the paper dry. This is where people generally get their bubbles out in their papers on a seam like this here. I think you can see this here. These are two factory edges right here buttoned together. It gives it a little concave that gives it room for mud and paper and everything. This is two cut edges right here. So it's already built on out, it's perfectly flat. And when they cut it, the paper is kind of buckles out a little bit and stuff. So this will make a hump in the wall. There's no avoiding it. None whatsoever. You just don't have to make the hump in the wall any bigger than you have to. And then you want to feather it on out too, of course, on your second and third taping. With this here, you want to make sure there's mud behind everything and that everything sticks. You don't want to push that mud out from behind that paper because then there's nothing to glue it to the sheetrock. I don't worry about how pretty the tape job is on that. I want that paper to stick. I'll pretty it up later. And generally I do the seam all the way across before I do the edges. But in the short runs, I like to get this stuff underneath the corner paper. But I don't want to do the long seam at this point. So I'll bring down the end and tie it in over the top of the corner paper. It doesn't really matter much. I just have that preference of having my paper tucked up underneath the corners. rather than lap it over the top. I think it makes it easier to tape. Actually, you know what I could do? Nope, it's not ready anyway. I'm not going to tape that ceiling. The rough troughs are going this way parallel, and they're underneath the seams. And the seams aren't screwed off on the ceiling. So I'm going to leave these things untaped for today. Yeah, this evening he'll be able to come through here and get that ready, get that screwed off. You'll see me wiping my trowel off quite a bit on my pant leg. Yeah, it makes your pants dirty. Irritates the wife if you don't deal with it and just throw them in the laundry floor to deal with. Don't do that. When you got a wife that works around the house all day, making your meals, doing your laundry, don't make her life more miserable. I mean, go ahead and wipe them off on your pant legs. But then, when you're all done doing the mudding, take those pants outside, preferably on the garden, and hose that mud off your pants. This mud is good for the garden. Hey, Alvin. This got some ceilings that we need to screw off in here.
Oh, need more. Okay, I'll do that.
Unless I get to it before you.
No. I'm good at screwing off.
I've noticed that.
One thing that I want to take the time to mention is whether we're talking about taping mud or drywall itself. If you have a lot of clay in your property, in your garden, you know the mud and the drywall has a lot of lime in it, and lime breaks down clay. So if you got a lot of clay, if you can go to a drywall contractor, and get all those scraps, not after it's been painted. You don't want that in your garden. But if you can get a bunch of drywall, especially if you're just starting a new garden area, get that drywall and lay it out all over your garden area. Just cover the ground. That will help kill the grass off. Then once you get that the grass killed off, wet it down, let it run on in, rototill that into your clay ground. Let it sit and work it a couple of times, but you'll find out that drywall, it will help kill out the weeds initially, by laying it on out. Plus that lime being rototilled up in your clay, it'll help break it down. And believe me, drywallers, they're happy to get rid of their scrap drywall. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you all that tip.
Well, got a little mud on the plug end. And it's not going to let me reset. Let's see here. See if this is on the same circuit. Yeah. It is. We gotta get that mud cleaned on out of there. Let's see if that does it. There we go. I'm not overly fond of ground fault circuit interrupters. I understand they some save lives, but I know there's people stupid enough to take their electric razors and toothbrushes into the showers and stuff with them and in the bathtubs. But oh well, I ain't going to get into that. I'm sure there was a few people that had got electrocuted back before they had the FCIs. There we go again. But I never heard of anybody dying from it. However, I've heard about people getting smarter from it. Once you get tickled by electricity, you tend to get smarter. Unless you're me. I've been tickled by electricity lots of times, and I ain't no smarter. Hey, that's enough from the choir out there, you guys. You don't need to agree. Oops, I'm not ready for this yet. Where did I put my corner trowel? Okay, it's going to trip again. Yep. Where's my nail? There it is. Oh, great. Y'all see why I don't like GFIs? All because there's a few stupid people out there that would use electric strip razor in the shower. Or take the radio in with them. We need codes to protect us from our own stupidity. Are you trying to tell me it smoked right?
We're making progress. By the end of the day, both bathrooms will be done.
Cool.
I'll have that one done, and whatever you don't get done on this, I'll finish it.
Okay.
And,
I'll try to at least get the lids. And if I don't get the lid done, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't. Actually, I think I'd rather, if I don't get the thing screwed up, I'd rather you get it do it. I'd rather do it.
Okay.
Don't want you to.
Falling off the
Yeah. It's not worth it. We'll take care of that in there. So if I don't get it done, just do the walls.
I'll do the walls,
Yeah.
That'll be easy.
Yeah.
And,
I gotta have a smoke though.
You know, one thing I would like to say here, the better the job that you do on hanging your drywall, a lot faster the painting will go. It really does slow things down. Hopefully on my next video I'll remember to show you a few details, a few things of what I'm talking about. Something that can raise the quality of your taping. Such as how things should be cut around doors. A lot of the seams that we have around the doors, they're going to crack open in time, in a short period of time. You don't want no cuts going into the top corners of your door. Those will definitely crack. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Having cut edges butted up together does really slow things on down. Having big wide gaps up at the top of your corner boards. Cutting things together like a jigsaw puzzle. You know, you might be saving yourself a few pennies in drywall. But if you had to pay for the labor, the cost to tape it, you'd be paying 3 to 4 times as much for the labor, for all that extra taping that you're creating. Not only that, that type of taping creates humps in your walls. So when you do, if you do take on a project of hanging drywall and taping it, try to do it in a way where there's less seams, less cutting, especially if you're doing your own drywall. You'll find that it's a lot easier for you to keep up with it and deal with. To just kind of keep all this in mind if you plan on it for yourself in the future. Don't be chintzy with the drywall. There's pieces on the ceiling and different places where there's 3 to 6 inch wide strips of sheetrock. But like I don't know what they were thinking, but you have your wall, where of course you're going to have a factory edge button up to that. Then out 3 inches from that, they would have a seam. The areas that I'm talking about, there was no need to have a 3-inch filler strip on in there. Creates a lot of extra money. I'll kind of point that on out. Hopefully I'll point that on out to y'all later on. Stuff that you can simplify yourself. I would rather throw a whole sheet of sheetrock away if I cut it wrong than to put it up there and have a whole bunch of extra taping on it just because I miscut it. Anyway, I do hope y'all enjoyed this video. I wish I could tell you more where you would want to jump ahead and skip ahead. And I did one point back there. From here on out, I'm just going to let the video play on out, hear what's being said, whatever. But at this point, I would just want to say, remember, if the girls can't find you handy like me, they can find you handsome like me. And if they can't find you handsome like me, just pray that if they find you. Y'all come back now, you hear?
With the glare on the camera. I mean, it does make it nicer, but then it shows up the red glare on the camera.
Yeah. Got dogs in the room with you?